Hello, I'm Greg.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
the
All-Seeing Guys. Cheers for checking out the show, guys, and joining us.
Yep, thank you for downloading and subscribing.
Find us on iTunes,
SoundCloud,
Stitcher,
and podnose.com.
Nice. Didn't even practice that. That was awesome.
That was nice, wasn't it?
We've also on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, All-Seeing G, or the All-Seeing Guys podcast with Greg and Joe. Hit us up, man. We're always up for a bit of bants.
Bit of bants.
So cheers for listening and enjoy the rest of the show.
So
tuck it the fuck in.
The All-Seeing Guys. The All-Seeing Guys. The living room. With Greg and All-Seeing Guys. The living room. The All-Seeing Guys. The living room. The All-Seeing Guys. The All-Seeing Guys.
Greetings!
Hello.
Episode 20, what a number, a mini milestone. The show is already evolving, we've made changes, new segments, having guests, taking the show out the studio and out and about. We're just letting the show go wherever it takes us. But in the breeze of change and the spirit of going with the flow, we have another special episode for you listeners today. In a Marvel movie world, people do love a crossover, a team up, two worlds becoming one universe. Well, it's happening right now. From the very popular and also local podcast, How to Write a Tune, we're joined by Jay and Tony in their studio.
Love it. Wicked.
Good afternoon, boys.
Thank you. Does that make us like Marvel TV? And you guys are...
Yeah, you're agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Motherfucker.
Well, to be fair, I think if you're comparing, this is basically S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, so we're probably... Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
I'll take that.
Nick Fury over there.
I lost my patch. Surely Tony Stark. No?
I'd say I'd need... Well, who could be more Tony Stark?
I'm going to go for me.
No. I'm way more Stark.
I like the concept of having something else do everything for you around your body. Very lazy.
But this won't be an episode of us sucking our dicks. It's an awesome show. It's got off the flying start. Rather than us tell you about it, why don't you guys give us a little insight into your podcast?
How to Write a Tune. It's the only podcast where we get into deep into the hearts, minds and souls of it. I do my intro.
We talk to musicians and stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, me and Bones basically sat down ages ago and we did a significantly more fun podcast, but a significantly worse recorded podcast called Allegedly, which was us just giggling around in the front room having fun.
Terrible content.
And just for like a decade plus, we've been in a band and had the same conversations with every musician. And like, people come up to you afterwards all wankered and they're like, man, how do you write a tune, man? And like, I don't know, dude. Like, I want to go and go. I just want to go.
Yeah. I'm kind of like packing up right now.
Yeah,
like,
literally. And they put their pint on your amp and you're like,
come on, there's not where it's there.
And I can't pick it up.
I like how like the pint on the amp is just like, well, I can't pick that up now.
Yeah, your pint's there.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink your pint.
Yeah, you're standing on my lead, sir.
Yeah. And you're pulling it dead tight and then
You're not going anywhere as you answer my question. How do you write a tune?
How do you write a tune? And then also I've sat bollocks with musicians for years being like, how do you write it? And got into like the actual answer. But never was there, or I've never heard the crossover of like just musicians actually telling people this is kind of how I write. So we thought, fuck it, we'll sit down. Also, kinda, in the background, it's a bit of a maniacal subliminal
messaging.
If we can sit down with enough people, right? We're not writing an album right now per se, but we might be getting lessons on how to write every single week from the best we can find. Yeah.
You make it seem like you're doing them a solid by featuring on your podcast, but really...
Calm down. How do you write that?
It doesn't even go on air.
Which, to be honest, we recorded 10 before it did go on air. So there was 10 people who were like, and this is what? This is for everybody? This is like a public announcement.
Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it.
Also members or Brass Cats, who we once played a gig with.
We did, yeah. It was the charity gig that Rosie put on, wasn't it?
Yep.
I remember that gig. I don't
no
remember playing with you. So sorry.
No one remembers.
I remember many things from gigs, though. We drink way too much at gigs. That's part of the thing.
The Brass Cat special.
Because we'd definitely seen you before live. We'd definitely seen you, so I knew you guys.
You guys live in the Cops, right?
Yeah, we
literally sleep out back in the venue.
And we were the house band for pretty much a whole year.
So that was a changing of the baton.
And we genuinely got the band.
Oh, that's it. And now we're doing a podcast. We are following your steps. Then
I like it. Cool.
You're basically the stable for our current sort of process. Like, well, they're in a band, so let's start a band. Okay. I think do a podcast. Okay, well, let's do that then as well.
So next it's bankruptcy, and then
We're both going to quit our jobs and do this full time.
Well, we won't actually plan anything. We'll just quit our jobs and then be like, how the fuck are we going to make money?
Yeah,
We've got to
it's
fucking
like,
pay rent.
oh, right, yeah.
really similar, dude.
Oh, we just all back in with move in with your parents. I'll come as well. My wife will come.
Brilliant.
We're just
And
going
then
to
her
move in with
parents,
your
and we'll all just live in this giant...
We can come as well, right? Oh, thank fuck. Hi, Mrs. Joe.
Man, as I mentioned before, we're recording in their studio, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, it's great. It's a real good setup, this.
It's quite overwhelming, really. It's a bit different to your kitchen.
Yeah, a little bit different. I mean, it's professional to start with.
Hey, we've got a microwave. Fuck you.
It's as professional as you can
You
be.
assume Joe's kitchen is a microwave.
Yeah, you're one up right now.
But, you know, we are in a shed. You're not in the kitchen is
Very
at least
true.
a proper
I
building.
don't know. I referred to it as a shed, but I don't feel like I'm in a shed when I look at it, to be honest with you.
When I step in here, I feel like I'm in a wedding canopy. It's like...
In a wedding canopy.
I've not thought of that. That's very true.
See, my first thought was the little canapes.
There's someone going to come out of them in a minute.
You're in a fucking vol-au-vent.
R2D2 is going to come out like in Jabba's palace.
What the fuck did you just call me?
We were all thinking it.
Man. So anyway, they're going to join us for this episode, which is going to be awesome. The changes of a lot of changes in the show recently, so we thought we'd go with a classic. We're going to start with a geese dropping.
We're going to hit a grease drop in, apparently.
A geese dropping.
Having a listen.
So this one I heard at 7:45 in the morning, walking through Kingston. Mm-hmm. I was walking to work.
Okay.
And I was walking through like the marketplace, and this
Yep.
old man came hobbling up to me, and I thought he was going to ask me for money, and he stared me right in the eye and just went, "Excuse me, is there a shop that sells musical instruments?" I was like, "Yep." I assume
That does exist in this world,
I
yeah.
assume looking for Hans Music. It's just down there, down past the bakery, and he was just like, "Good man," but then just walked alongside me, just staring me in the eyes the whole way. So I was going the same direction.
Did you change direction?
No, well, I was like, I'm sort of moving away, but he was kind of looking me in the eyes the whole time. And I was like, I don't think they're open yet, to be honest with you, but it's down there.
Should have been like, I don't work there, so don't follow me where I'm going, because you'll be massively disappointed.
And he wandered off down there, but I don't think they're open, so I would have done for an hour or so.
He's just standing outside there, just looking
against
at
the
something,
window like
just
it's Christmas Day. I want that banjo so bad.
It's a horrible Christmas day if you get your presents all from Hans Music. I like a Gibson guitar, please. Oh, you don't sell Gibson.
It's kind of like what I wanted, but not what I wanted.
It's like
And it was really expensive.
But we've got
like when
these
you ask-
Nightmare Before Christmas picks. Would you like one of those?
It's like when you ask your mum for like a Marvel character and she brings out like an old G.I.
Falcon.
Joe. Falcon, yeah. Oh, come on, the flying. Mum, he hasn't even got any powers. He flies, doesn't he? Fuck you, Mum. Fuck you.
Fucking fly.
Until he catches a stray bullet and then...
When you were younger, like, I'd be like to my nan, "I want wrestling figures." "Oh, I've seen those in the shop." And she comes back with like those proper knockoff,
Ugh.
like corner shop ones,
Ugh.
and they're amazing. Like, it looks like Hulk Hogan,
But it ain't no-
but he's like green. He's like his
Yeah.
vest is green, and he's called something ridiculous like
He's
Hulk
literally
Schmogan.
Hulk Wogan.
Terry Wogan.
The Walk Wogan.
Terry Guan.
Terry Wagwan.
What did you have, Joe?
I actually only heard this last night, which was on the train home. There was a bunch of people on the train, and then these two drunk girls got on and were just so loud.
They were fucking annoying.
so loud.
Like pissed?
Yeah, pissed loud. And also she kept doing an Australian accent.
Which shouldn't really annoy Joe, because Joe does a lot of. She does a
Yeah.
fair bit.
I just like, she's taking my bit. Like,
Oh, it's
she's taking my
territorial,
bit.
huh?
Yeah. I was like, I'm sorry.
Hers was bad though. I mean, yours can be bad on occasion, but it's comically bad. Hers was just insulting bad.
It was bordering on the realms of just like, that's a bit racist. Yeah, at one point, like, their conversation was dying down, and then just out of nowhere, she suddenly just goes,
Sorry, man.
oh, fucking hell, what was it? I've lost it already. Lost it already.
Are you going to do it in a comedy Australian accent?
No, I mean, no.
A poor one.
Especially a poor man's
Her Australian accent. That's what I want.
in an Australian accent, I just overheard, "Oi, put your fucking minge away, mate."
It's better in Australian.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was quite good.
Did she have it out?
Not that I could see
Oh.
or smell. But yeah, that was a bit of a highlight. And then I was just like, I'm so glad I'm getting off this train right now.
You should have called me, man. That sounds awesome.
Tony, there is a minge
Tony,
out
can
somewhere.
you get onto this moving train that's going from Waterloo to Southern?
For pussy, he could do it as well.
The shield agents it over and jumps on the roof of the train.
This man's like the Ethan Hawke of pussy.
I have one more that I was going to say, but do you remember we went to Ed's Christmas holiday?
Yeah,
That was like,
yeah.
the 4th of December. Christmas holidays, we used to go to our friend's house and watch Christmas horror films all day. We did it.
Horror day. Oh, I thought you had a list for a second there. Okay, so horror day.
Horror day. It was 4th of
He was doing a Chinese
December. I'm not doing
Weirdest
those.
list ever.
But I popped into Sainsbury's in the morning to get beers and bacon, all that bollocks that we needed for the day.
Yeah.
Good party stuff.
And there was a fat old woman at the checkouts at the self-service, and she turned to the member of staff, this little whinging woman, just turned to her and went, "I don't like your accent, I find it annoying, and you have a miserable face. I don't think you should be here." Completely out of nowhere.
Stern but
How the
fair.
fuck do you come back from that?
And I'm just stood there, like, scanning my stuff, being like, "Oh, fuck."
Speeding up, just like, I'm going to get out of here
The
quickly.
woman working there was just like, "No, you're very rude, you're very rude." And everyone was like, "No, you're miserable. So, good day." She left. And the other woman like, started getting a bit teary, the woman that worked there. And I was like, fuck. So I just
Jesus,
turned around.
speed up even
I
faster.
just turned around and looked at her and just went, "You don't have a miserable face. Have a nice day."
That was you saving the day, was it? Your face.
Well, we are like
It's
Marvel
all right.
heroes.
You know what?
We are-
I mean,
we
she
are like
did
Marvel
say your face
heroes.
is miserable, but it's not that miserable.
Yeah, I wouldn't say miserable.
Yeah.
But not qualified it with what you would call it.
I mean, it's hard to look at, but it's not
Not a happy
miserable.
face, but
Yeah.
Horrific is the word I
Have a good day.
It's intriguing, that face, yes.
Yeah.
It leads me down a dark alley in my mind.
So you obviously invited her to Christmas Horror Day, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man, sure.
Yeah, she quit her job right there.
We just sat down and watched her all day. Just put some tinsel on her.
She wept.
I have this horrible feeling now that this woman's like, "Oh, this very nice man, you know,
Yeah.
he defended me against no one because the woman had gone, but he came and told me I wasn't miserable, and then she somehow hears this and just like, he's an arsehole."
didn't realise I was getting
saviour.
a second kick while I was down.
Everyone's an arsehole. So I thought on this episode, seeing as we have Jay and Tony here, in their, I keep saying that as if they're in our place.
I like it. We're in your podcast place
We would
Podcast world.
Podcast world,
we
thank
would
you.
discuss what actually brought us together, and that is podcasts themselves. You know, why we do it, what made us do it, what we listen to, why. So,
Absolutely.
firstly, what are we listening to? What inspired you guys to do this?
Well, you started listening to podcasts long before me, so I have at it, Hoss.
Yeah, where did it begin? Probably Rogan for me.
Oh,
That was actually
okay.
where it
Oh,
began.
yeah.
Like, forced, always someone else forcing it on you, you know, at first. Because it's like, my housemate. Well, I say housemate, the guy who used to live in the shed.
Is he still here?
No, he's my housemate now. But like, there was a
an
time.
upgrade. There was an upgrade.
He
to the
upgraded
house.
hard. John rode the brass cats. Jason, shout out. He just used to, when we were recording and living down here and just stuff, he'd just have it on all day. And it's like, and eventually I was like, Rogan, this guy's not an idiot. He's not just a fucking thug.
Yeah, he
UFC.
covers like a whole lot of shit as well.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
because for a guy that's a comedian who commentates on UFC and does Fear Factor and shit like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
At face value, you're like, what's he gonna know? But he's a
Yeah.
fucking clever dude, and he's got a great memory. And like 755 episodes in now, he's interviewed some pretty cool people along the way.
To be fair,
Like,
whenever I
how,
ask
like-
anyone, people ever to explain to people what I do a podcast. They're like, "Oh yeah, do you know Rogan podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
It's not like that, but I know it. Yeah. Don't listen to ours expecting that.
I mean, we talk.
We're not smart.
We will blow your mind, but just on a completely different level.
Because we're not smart. No.
I've never presented Fear Factory. Not once. I've asked them.
Joe has a corner of fear sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's very different.
Horrific.
I think with me it was a podcast called Last Podcast on the Left. where they talk about like serial killers and other horrific things, but it's like it's very funny, even though it's dark. It's
Okay,
very
sure.
very dark. The Jeffrey Dahmer 3-part, my favourite podcast.
Oh yeah, that
to
is
date, man.
amazing.
So what do? They pick specific.
So there's like
serial
3
killers.
comedians, and they sit down. Well, 2 comedians and the producer. They sit down and they basically, and the facts in it are they really do their research.
Yeah,
So
they get like temps in to basically like help research and stuff like that.
yeah, and it's amazing.
Oh, one of those research
Yeah,
podcasts.
yeah, yeah.
Huh?
And they
Zip.
and I learned so much from it, but at the same time, it's so funny and it's disgusting. It's really disgusting.
Yeah.
Some of the jokes made in it are proper vulgar. Are about horrible subjects like children getting murdered, but the jokes they make are too funny.
Just to lighten the mood.
But that's the thing. That's the thing about podcasts, though, especially because it's so many comedians. Like if the horrific things some comedians say on stage,
Yeah.
you've got to think like 20% of that shit is the usable stuff that
Yeah.
you talk about with mates.
yeah.
Like, and a podcast is where you get to hear like 3 or 4 two comedians sit down and just be vile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they don't have to. They can do what they want. 'Cause it's not going on radio and it's not
No.
going on TV.
Exactly.
You're
It's
doing it yourself.
The uncensored part of it is just the most beautiful thing about podcasts.
Absolutely.
I fucking love it. You can just have anything. Anyone who's savvy enough to be able to get a mic and plug it into a laptop of some description is like, our podcast now, motherfucker. Boom. What's it about? Cooking.
I think it's the only medium we could ever have Joe talk on, to be honest with you, or be on.
What, a podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. I like having the gift of saying what I want to say.
Loads of people when they come in
The
because
privilege of having what you want
That's
to
it,
say,
yeah.
I'd say.
because loads of people, not everyone has heard of podcasts, and when we're sitting down musicians, it's like, do you want to do an interview essentially?
Yeah.
It's, if they don't know what a podcast is, do you want to, it's like a long interview chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are cool, and they'll sit here, and I talk and he talks, and we're fucking effing and blinding. We're fucking effing and blinding.
Yeah, but why are you censoring it?
Okay.
We're fucking a being.
Bastards and whores.
Fucking and being. I don't know what blinding stands for. So yes, I swear every couple of words, and people at some point will then naturally swear. It works way into your
They kind
vernacular.
of realise that it's like it's a bit like
But people catch
more
themselves.
relaxed,
I will literally
like-
be like, yeah, you know what I mean, because he's a cunt, blah, 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 blah. And then someone will sit there and go, shit, is that okay?
Can I say
Yeah,
that?
that's absolutely fine. I just talked about,
Do you ever get like friends or family listen to it and then question about the swearing?
Not so much, because they know me. And I probably swear less on the podcast than I do
My
in
mum
live.
comments more on Joe's swearing than mine, to
Yeah.
be fair.
Well, it's more horrific, isn't it?
you're welcome.
Yeah, actually, it's a good thing, right?
But like, I mean, for us, I suppose I got you listening to that last podcast.
Yeah, I got into it as well.
And then I was like, right, we wanted to do it for so long, but we're like, what the hell do we do it about? What do we possibly have what can we talk about?
So did you drag Joe into podcast? Like, this
Yeah.
is what podcast is.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to us.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd listened to like the XFM like stuff like that Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant used to do.
Right.
And I kind of like and the stuff they did with Carl.
You'd heard them, but weren't.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
a
So
listener.
I understood what a podcast was and stuff like that, but then obviously never really looked into what was out there.
No.
So like
Which
when
not
he
many
showed
people
me like.
people are only now really starting to do in the UK.
Yeah. People really didn't sort of get that there's like a lot of sort of variation to it. And it's just like, it's
cereals.
just a bunch of people chatting. Like,
Because we literally were walking back from Dice Follow practice one night and we had a conversation about if you're you couldn't trust an actor. Like,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
dated an actor, you couldn't trust them because they're such good liars. They're so good at acting.
No.
Could
we
you
were
believe
coming-
a word they said if you were dating an actress? Like, did you sleep with him? No. I love
Okay,
you.
yeah, fair enough.
Oh, okay. But you wouldn't believe them because it could be acting.
Oscar winning.
That's very convincing. I forgive you.
No, that
Wait
was
a
it.
second.
We were sort of. I think we were also discussing what was the difference between liars and actors.
Yeah.
Like, what constitutes.
And
Really, the question is what's the difference between a sociopath and an actor? Because realistically,
Very true.
Getting paid?
And it was, and it was at that,
Not getting an erection whilst you're doing it.
and it was at that
Actors,
point.
right?
It was at that point we were both just like, this is it. This could be the podcast.
Yeah.
Just us talking what we usually talk about.
It's absolute fucking bullshit.
well, before I'd even listened to a podcast at all, he'd started one. So he'd started allegedly.
Allegedly!
Great podcast.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, it's terrible because no one hasn't spelled it 'cause it's not a real word. And when you say allegedly, you don't get away with the allegedly thing. Like so when you're in court and you're like, yeah, but I said allegedly. And they're like, well, that doesn't mean shit. Like, oh, fuck. Now I always say allegedly instead of allegedly.
Well, that's interesting. Why did you start a podcast? I've never actually asked you, why did you start a podcast?
I think I had loads of microphones because we have a studio.
What else can I do?
I don't know, yeah. I wanted to talk about some shit.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Was it just you?
No, it was my housemates. We just set up in the living room, but like full span across a living room. Like, so like 4 mics interspersed in certain areas. No one's got an actual mic. So the sound is all like...
So you like walk aroround the room?
Yeah. People coming in and out. Literally people ringing the doorbell, coming in and out during the episode. It was very much just in my house.
Sounds like a sitcom, like a radio play.
Yeah. And the subject
The
is
sound effects are amazing.
Tony's house.
Yeah. And it's usually ended up me explaining like what is Bitcoin to everybody. It's like, oh, we'll end up talking about something stupid like that. Everyone's like, well, what the fuck are we talking about? I'm like, okay. And I'll get it all fucking wrong, because what the fuck do I know at the end of the day? Like, I'm just making it up. But,
Zero research.
But then I couldn't make an episode, but it had to go ahead because fuck it. So I just like, Jay, host. You've never heard a podcast before. Never done that. I just need you to come into my house.
He belled me. I remember it was a Tuesday, and he was like, "Listen, so next Tuesday." I was like, He's like, "We need to host a podcast." Like, cool, sounds like fun. It's a podcast. He's like, "Come over, and I'll put the app on your phone."
I don't know what tool that is. Podcast.
I would have liked it if you'd just been like, yeah, all right, cool.
I'm in the
hung up,
DIY
and then
shop
just
now.
called back
They
and just like,
ain't got any podcasts in the DIY shop. I'm here now. So very similar. I groomed Joe into doing it.
yeah.
Yeah, and
I was offered dib dabs and...
Well, Tony threw me nuts first into it.
Oh, sweet.
And that podcast...
swinging you by your balls.
There I am. And then I was hosting one, which was cool because basically that podcast went on for like 2.5 hours as well.
Yeah, these are all 3-hour podcasts. So
Amazing.
Fuck.
What do you think is a good length for a podcast? Because we always aimed for an hour. We've never done it. No, one episode was 58 minutes.
Yeah.
What, you're always less than an hour?
No, only one has been 58 minutes. The rest have all been an hour and a half.
Good, okay, I thought so. Yeah, okay.
They've all been an hour and a half. Apart from the New Year's one was like an hour and 45. And people don't complain, but they do go, it's long. I'm like, yeah,
it's long.
We have a lot to say.
Prepare yourself.
Nothing important, but we have stuff to say.
People really get on my nerves. People don't know what a podcast is, though. It really annoys me because lots of people looked at it hours since we're doing it because I'm like fucking talking about it and they're like, okay, cool, I'll check it out. And they're like, oh wow, an hour and 45. Have you ever thought of doing it sort of 25-minute shots? You know, so it's easier.
Yeah.
But no.
Because
I mean, it's not been around very long, but it's wicked. It's like 2 lines, yeah? It's got a pause button, right? So what you do is you fucking press it, right? You cunt, right? You press it and you come back to it. Do you read a book in one sitting? Do you read a book and be like, oh, I'm never going to nail that in an hour? No, fuck it, there we go.
I need to write to the author. If not, what they're doing is a 25-page boost.
I'd prefer you just release that Lord of the Rings in 55 different books, please. Like you read it hour touches.
That's it. You open it up, just page 1, just, oh no.
Oh, and it's small font as well. Fuck yourself. Like. Yeah, but and literally, people at that point, people are sometimes like, no, yeah, okay, but no one's like people. There's 2 camps. There's people who listen to podcasts and everyone else.
Yeah.
And everyone else is what? So it's like radio.
But I think the thing is, I've noticed that like in the popularity of the podcast and stuff, like a lot of like in like the office environment, are getting like it sort of gets spread around. Like Tyrone said, he's showing people in his office.
Well, it's a commuter thing.
Yeah, that as well. People
commute. You know, it's. I think it's more of a medium now. People use to be like.
So I think it's really kind of sort of like gone off in like office sort of environments because I've got friends working in an office. All of their friends listen to podcasts and stuff like that.
To be fair, I know I spoke to people and they've been like, I played your podcast in the office the other day. And I was like, how did that go? I liked it, but some people, like Kevin from the pub, remember he was like, my boss told me to turn it off. He said it was
brilliant.
Like he said, you got to turn it off. You can't have that playing in the office. you can listen to him, just not that one.
Yeah, loudspeaker.
I mean that's bold.
Yeah.
Like again, coming back to it, it's uncensored.
Some people are really easily offended.
Well, like for our Christmas episode, we had the Rump Steppers, 2 friends of ours, Miles and Liam here, and then 1/3 of the Lounge Kittens, Timia. we were all here, and we talked about some pretty horrific stuff. Like we nailed a bottle of coffee Patron. It's Christmas, like we had a lot of fun. A lot of beers were drunk. It was good fun. And at some point, he started because we were putting on songs like Christmas songs, and we'd like fucking listen to this.
Getting Mary.
Yeah, exactly. And Timmy hates
getting Mary.
Christmas.
Getting Mary.
Getting Mary.
Very and joyful.
Oh, okay.
Not like
Mary.
Mary.
Not like Mary and Joseph.
Oh, we do love jumping each other's mispronounce. I always mispronounce mispronunciation.
Yes.
That's a podcast name, mispronouncing mispronunciation. Still got to try saying it fast.
No, I don't want to.
It's all about words,
That's where
bro.
allegedly came from. But on that podcast, at some point, Liam had mentioned, what's the fucking old slut and drunk, Fairy Tale Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
New York Christmas.
Shane
that
McGowan.
one.
The Pogues.
The Pogues.
Yeah.
The Pogues Christmas song. Thank you. The Pogues song I know.
The Pogues song.
Song everyone.
And at some point he said, all my family listened to it, and what is it? His grandma... Kitty.
This one's for you, kitty.
Yes. Tony started literally every single song. This one's for you, kitty. Oh man, do we keep that? And afterwards, a few things. At one point, we were speaking about a Nazi-shaped Nazi base on the moon.
I've heard about that
You
conspiracy
spin
theory.
out and you come back. You know what I mean? And one of the people were listening to it next day, or when it had come out. He was sending a message, so that stayed in, huh? I'm like, yeah, we don't edit.
Yeah.
Fuck editing, right?
If you want something out, you tell me. And maybe it will come out.
There's things you can say and there's things you can't say. You should know those fucking things.
I sometimes do hover around some things Joe said before. I'm like, should I leave that in? Should I take it out? But I've never opted to take them out in the end. I've always left them in.
Yeah, but I think you get caught in that trap really easily because you have the ability to edit.
Yeah.
Lots of people, when you sit down, and especially people like who kind of know what it is, will sit down and be like, "Oh, can you we'll edit this out later." Yeah, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, I'm keeping that whole conversation in.
I mean,
even the 5 minutes where you talk about editing it, that's gold. As far as that's a proper podcast.
I mean, I don't really it's not. I'm not going out of my way to be offensive. It will just be something that will come in my head, and I was like, "Well, I'm saying that." That's key.
and now I've said it.
Yeah, and now I've said it, and let's see what happens.
Your move, Greg.
Because I'm just going to be quiet now and look at you.
And I'm just like,
What do you think about
that?
Your move.
Mind chess of
What
words.
you gonna do about that, bitch?
Just turn off the laptop and I go. Keep with me. Do your own podcast without me.
Like, fine, I'll just sit here with no recording equipment and talking to this microphone like a fucking lunatic.
Just become a walking podcast, talking to people in the street.
Yeah.
Just going around.
We thought about that. I thought that'd be great.
Well, just
so
like-
say things.
Just literally approaching them with just like a random question, but saying it as fast as possible, and then watch them just go.
It's even thinking hire a cameraman just so that they're really like, oh gosh.
Is that thing on?
Just going up to them, just like, who's your favourite Spice Girl?
That's great.
Jerry. Obviously.
Jerry, were you and Jerry? Hang on, whoa. Jerry.
All day long, mate.
I flitted between the posh bitch and the little
you would,
the
the blonde
one.
The
You know what, though?
Don't call her a kid,
Yeah.
man.
baby. Sorry, that's much better.
Child one.
You know what? Them now,
Yeah.
sporty. Back then, never.
Yeah.
Them
Oh,
now,
yeah,
sporty.
never.
But back then,
When she chopped all her hair off, I was a little bit like, hello.
Yeah. Oh shit.
That's interesting.
Shit, and Bryan Adams fancies her, really?
but there was that rumour, wasn't there, when they first came out that she was actually a man, and that stuck with me for a long time.
I never heard that rumour.
Did you not?
No.
It was maybe it was just me.
What I liked about her was everyone was like, ugly, first couple of songs, and then it was like, oh, but she's the only one who can sing.
Yeah.
And they're making it really apparent by like being like, la 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 la, and her go, ha! over the top of every song.
And then they're just like, yeah, that's great, but can you just do a cartwheel now or something? Because you're sporty.
So tired. I have to sing all the big stuff.
We need the scary one to do some sort of rap sort of verse. Just get her to do that.
That's not racist, is it? You rap, right, Scary?
Is it racist we've called her scary? Is it racist we've called her Scary Spice? I don't know, is
We
it?
dress her in leopard print.
I think
We'll just go with it.
That's not 90s racist. That is not 90s racist at all. Today, that's fucking racist. There is no way now you can start a girl band and be like, let's put the black chicken
With
leopard print,
stereotypes, you could
and
not-
she raps.
She raps and she's all scary.
Yeah, she's mean too.
Boss, she's got a really long tongue. Well, get her to stick it out all the time in every picture. In every promo picture, she's got to have a tongue out, all right?
Red chair, you're the slut. You, I guess, baby, that'll cover it. Another niche.
Get the pedos in.
There we go.
That's got the dads on side.
They really did think this out,
Spotty,
didn't they?
you're the leather dealt with. That covers the entire gay generation. And then who we're missing?
And then we've
we'll
got
get
Posh
some
that-
cunt down the
Posh
end
that
as
bring-
well.
Posh will bring in, you know, all the
Yeah.
Surrey side people. That's got all them all in.
Oh yeah, what about Surrey?
Surrey side.
We didn't think about Surrey or Cheshire. We'll get someone with a pencil stuck right up. She won't even sing. She just look fucked off in the background.
She's the closest we
She
can.
doesn't smile, sir. Good.
She's the closest we can. She's the closest we can get to being a goth. So we'll go with her.
And if you're just a man that wants to fuck a dirty chick,
Yeah. You just friend her. Ginger, yeah, exactly.
Man, we just opened doors on Spice Girls there.
By the way, me and Tony are massive Spice Girls. we were genuinely going to go when they reformed the first time. We were like, do we dress up and go?
there'll be a lot of chicks there.
There will be a lot of
That
chicks
was my-
that are now like late 20s.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
At
like,
the time,
oh, mate, I'm
When
gonna...
you say get dressed up, you mean as them?
Of course, yeah.
That was it. We
We
need
just
three
couldn't
more.
find 3 more.
Do you guys want to come next time?
Because it's weird if I'm blacked up and he's... You know, on the bus there, people are just like
Tony
weird
in the
drag.
Union Jack dress.
I haven't pulled that out for a while.
I thought the train up would be too embarrassing. Without the other 3, there's no context.
Oh,
yeah, it's
The
ridiculous.
train? You mean you're not going to get a Union Jack bus to go there?
Go big, get let in VIP, do the
With
gig.
Meatloaf driving it, you're not going to do that.
I know what film I'm watching this afternoon.
I read it's been added on Netflix recently, so you're going to sit down. Apparently, Spice World. I read that somewhere.
Oh, I'm putting the Spice Girls on the podcast list.
On the list.
On the list. They're going on the
Shit.
list.
How do you write a song? We don't. Sweet. Next.
Spice.
All right, well, let's talk about your tits then.
So,
How they
slutty,
looking
huh?
nowadays?
They were right, you are scary. How's Eddie Murphy?
Did he think you were a man? Is
No, that was
that what happened?
Oh, dear.
I did feel the urge then to do some sort of Eddie Murphy impression. I'm glad I didn't. Actually.
Thanks.
Yeah, no,
I
yeah.
felt it coming. I was like, no.
What would you do?
I don't know. I don't even know if it's going to
The
be
only
him.
thing I can think of is his laugh in like Beverly Hills Cop. It's just like,
There you go. I knew I could. I
want
could
half
coach-
Eddie.
I knew I could coach someone into doing one for me. We got massively sidetracked then in an awesome, amazing way.
I'm not sure.
I remember.
what are we talking about again?
I remember.
I have no idea.
Greg said, who's your favourite Spice Girl?
And then 2 hours later, you finished answering the question.
So, podcast, huh?
Do they have one? Is there a Spice Girls podcast? There's a
Shit, you'd think.
podcast for everything.
Mate, there's
at the moment.
already people out there discussing
Alanis
podcasts.
Morissette
like,
started one as well.
yeah, didn't she do like
That's
an
the
agony?
crappiest artwork in the world. It just says conversations with Alanis Morissette. I've not listened to it.
What, in herself? Just talking to herself?
Yeah, she just sat in a room talking to herself.
It's like, well, this is ironic.
Do you remember Jagged Little Pills?
No, I saw
that would
that.
be good.
And the caption was, it probably won't be ironic.
She's really playing
It's
that,
not
isn't she?
ironic, though.
Is that her playing up
She's
on
really-
that whole
she's-
thing that she's an idiot?
Yeah, she's really playing on that. You know, that was the first concert I ever went to, was Alanis Morissette.
That album was
Wow,
banging.
what for Jagged Little Pill?
Yeah.
Good album.
No, it would have been the one afterwards,
I
actually.
mean, terrible concert to go to. Oh, you went to the pop
but
one
she
after.
played all of them. I loved it, though.
She was kicked out after Jagged Little Pill.
Supposed former infatuation junkie, that one.
Wow, that's a title.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, man. I was young, I was there. I was looking really grungy and everyone else was like mums and dads.
Good point, yeah, because like ironic was huge.
And there was me at the time with my longer hair, my dog tags and my shirt and my baggy jeans, just like,
Jesus.
yeah, trying to rock it out.
out to Alanis Morissette.
It's not fair in the night air.
Well, she goes down in theatres, so that's fine.
There you go.
I hear she goes down everywhere.
Not just in theaters.
But this is what going back to what we were saying before, with podcasts growing popular in the UK and everyone doing one nowadays, it's breaking the mould of what UK offers, which is recycled BBC radio.
Yeah.
That's all I see. When I first looked into other podcasts from like UK, I was like, it's all BBC radio, all of it.
You have to scroll past a page of BBC
Yeah.
really before you get into
The Guardian bit.
Yeah.
And then you go,
There's a couple of really famous American podcasts that come
So
out.
like, if I look, say I've looked in at iTunes top charts, I'm not going to read them out, I'm just going to tell you what's on there.
Right.
As always, Serial number one, because Serial's always number one in any fucking podcast.
Well,
list
I
in
mean,
the fucking
let's
world.
Serial. Like,
smashed
we're
it,
talking
right?
podcasts. Let's talk about Serial. Like that is actually really good for everyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really, really
Yeah.
good because that's another thing which has brought a load of people just to the concept of like, do you know what a podcast is?
Yeah.
Which is actually really important at this stage.
It can, and it
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
more
yeah.
than just like people sitting around discussing something. It can be actually like
Did you listen to it?
theme based.
No.
yeah, I listened to it when it came out.
The first series, I really fucking liked it.
I'm not so into the second series.
No,
It's
I've
not
not
quite
listened
as
to it.
gritty.
Listen-
I've been
I-
hearing that the second series is not
I
as
listened
good.
to the
like-
first 2 episodes and was like, I am bored, and I haven't listened to it since.
Yeah.
My
The
missus,
thing-
my missus listened to the whole thing. She's only got into podcasts since I've been doing this podcast. I mean, she doesn't listen to this podcast. no, she does.
No, I support you, but
Yeah.
no.
I mean, it downloads on my app every day. No, she does. She's dead cool. She's one like, yeah, good episode. And I'm like, oh, right. Good to know. Must work out how to interview.
Who are we talking to? Tony?
All right, babes, you win again. Okay. One day he won't be there. But she has gone straight down the fucking rabbit hole for Serial. And so many people now,
Yeah.
I hear her talking about Serial. They're like, oh, yeah. Mates of mine, we were at a party the other day, and mates were like, oh, yeah, I've listened to Serial. I'm like, oh, so you listen to podcasts? Like, yeah. I'm like, would you listen to my fucking podcast? Are you kidding me?
No, I listened to podcast Serial.
Yes, indeed.
That's also a lot of it. But yeah, it was very popular. Series 2, not liked really at all. But
Yeah.
the first series, it was gripping, and it did open the doors a lot more. So it's always number one.
Ridiculous numbers of how many
Everything
people listen.
everything else is actually BBC. The next 9 in the top 10 are all BBC, apart from American Life, which is
Yeah, which is
that's it.
massive as well.
All of it.
Great.
Women's Hour is number 11, by the way, BBC.
Just missing out on that top 10.
And the problem is I don't really cast, like you say, it's regurgitated
Yeah.
BBC radio. I don't count
Yeah.
that as a podcast.
No.
Like, you know, because it's censored.
Yeah.
It's come from a censored medium. It's just re-released.
yeah, they've just put it in on demand basis. All they've done is put their radio on demand rather than making it.
But there's definitely a programmer somewhere who deals with the radio, like some little digital bloke who was like nothing
an actual
5 years
digital
ago.
bloke is like an 8-bit guy. Just saying.
He's that paperclip.
That's where he went.
He's now the head of digital programming for
Everyone,
BBC.
everyone in the office hates his voice and says like, "Oh, this guy when he talks,
How can I help
such
you?
a fucking know-it-all as well." Oh god, he gets my fucking bollocks in a twist.
Joe's woken up.
Morning, Joe.
I'm not getting in there.
Joe's like, how did I get here? What the hell?
Yeah, thanks, sorry.
That fucking paperclip.
I've been in
I was like,
autopilot all morning. Now I'm here.
All right, I've contributed in the Spice Girls segue of 20 minutes ago.
But there's definitely a bloke somewhere in BBC who is like, have you heard this shit? This is great. We should get involved in this.
Yeah.
Put some money into this.
It costs us nothing. Just
Costs
let
us-
me do it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, we've already recorded them. Can we please stop letting it die there?
Yeah.
We've recorded them as well. Stop putting them at the bottom of fucking BBC Tower or whatever. Maniacal prince-esque room, you know what I mean?
The auntie sporting bloomers.
This is
like-
it, exactly. And the lost series of Mr. Blobby.
Great series.
Let's just put it all out. Just put it all out.
The one where it got really dark. The post-watershed, Mr. Blobby.
Do you think
Death
they'll
to
start
Blobby.
reaching out to other podcasts now? Do you think they'll start looking to get people? Because I was talking to a podcast recently, I can't remember, some movie podcast. Whenever anyone follows us on Twitter, I always send them a message like, cheers, follow my generic message I send out. Everyone knows that it's generic. But sometimes people reply, and this guy replied and was like, oh yeah, really like the show, blah, blah, we've been doing this. And I was like, yeah, it's cool. And he was just like, well, you know, the BBC have even called us in for a little chat about doing stuff for them. And I was like,
Fuck.
I was kind of like, okay.
That's cool,
Let me
though.
know what happens out of that, because I'll be interested to know if that's something they'll be looking into do.
But they would need to
I don't think they're looking for two guys who
No,
just
they're
say
not looking for
cunt
us,
for an
mate.
hour and
Could you
a half.
imagine? Jesus Christ.
But that's the thing, they need to...
People would not want to pay TV licensing for BBC at all. Like,
Did you ask them if they swear in that on the air?
I've listened to bits
it
of their
local?
episode. No, I don't think they are local. I think they're English, though.
Okay.
And
You think they're English?
You'd hope so.
yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Have you listened to it?
Yeah, I have, yeah. I listened to their Star Wars.
But you don't know if they're English.
Well, they're not
Just so
Australian.
you know, me and Tony, English. Joe, Englishman. As far as I can tell. As far as I can tell,
I
Englishman.
thought you were Russian. I thought that's what this setup was.
Well, you know, in the past I've been
I thought we've
Australian.
been sat in this bunker for ages deciphering code.
Don't know what you're talking about, Jay.
Yes, very English. You're South African and your Australian accents just glide between each other, Tony.
The
But
Aussie one.
I know it's true.
gone
But then
now.
I mentioned it before. I was on that podcast, The Laps.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not going to go into detail. I might jinx this, but I was on their storytelling podcast, and I told a fucking horrible story. But it was a very good episode. I was really happy with it. And he messaged me recently and was just like, "Oh, our radio station over here in America, blah blah blah. It's the American equivalent of BBC.
Wow.
They want to play one of my episodes on their podcast playlist.
Wow.
And he's like, I want to play yours because I think it's the best episode. And I was like, he's like, do you mind? I said, fuck no.
no, yeah.
Fuck no. As long as they play the whole episode, so you plug all seeing guys at the end, that's fine.
Who was that clever sounding bloke? The British one.
It says cunt and it sounds charming.
That's it. I don't think I swore in that.
If only there was a way that I got contacted him, but they cut
Because
off all
Joe
the
wasn't in
advertisements
that,
at
so
the
I
end.
didn't swear. But you were mentioned in it. I talked about you in it. I still managed to work you in, even though you were part of the story. I managed to work you into my storytelling.
I'm just riding his coattails.
Yeah, I hear you.
But it's interesting. So possibly now people are looking at it a bit more seriously.
Well, I mean, who bought Nerdist?
Warner.
Warner.
Yes.
And
That's a big deal
that's
as well.
huge.
That's a
wasn't
big
it?
deal, but
That's
the
a
thing
big
is,
deal.
it's not the BBC. Like, you know what I mean? Warner release like 18 plus movies. They have
Yeah.
adult content. So for
Yeah.
them to understand the medium and throw a bunch of money at it and like, let's get involved. And by the way, we're Warner. Do you want to like interview all of the famous people? You know?
Yeah.
Famous are famous as well.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, Schwarzenegger.
Patrick
Bill
Stewart,
Gates.
man.
Top
I listened to the
end. Yeah,
Patrick
like-
Stewart ones, and he was fucking hilarious.
There's two,
on it.
isn't there?
Yeah, I listened to the second one he was on.
It's good. That's much better audio. The first
Yeah,
one's
really
shocking.
funny.
The only thing is, Warner bring them guests to the table, but they also bring a bunch of paperwork that says these are the questions you're going to ask.
Yeah.
These are the questions you're not.
That's
going
the
to
that's the
ask.
only kind of sort of
Like,
downside of it.
You need
There
at
is
least
a
20
formula
minutes
to it,
talking
like-
about what they're here to plug.
Yeah, Tom Cruise ain't going on Rogan because Rogan's going to ask him all kinds of questions he doesn't want to answer. Yeah, exactly.
Tom Cruise would malfunction on
Yeah, like on a proper
He would
podcast.
probably have
you
about
know,
6
in,
Scientologists around him.
Yeah.
So not shaking their heads at any question. Well, so
Crowbars.
what did you have a breakfast
You're
this
watching,
morning?
it's like when Arnie fucking is all dressed up in, what is it, Total Recall as the woman. Just, he's like, 2 weeks, and you're just watching, just go, 2 weeks.
So, Tom Cruise, what did you have for breakfast this morning? They're just like, don't answer.
Yeah. Steam just comes out of his ear. Just like,
I am not at liberty to say, but please check out Mission Impossible 6, which is out now.
And there's no
Well,
way.
I take on the Illuminati.
And I am the Illuminati. But there's no way that Rogan wouldn't be like Scientology.
yeah.
Let's really talk. And where are you? Like ranked? What number?
Yeah.
7
And
or
he'd
8?
be nice
you know?
about it.
Yeah, he wouldn't
would,
be
But
offensive.
he would ask the questions that
No,
he does
no.
not want to fucking be asked.
And the Nerdist, I guess, was always a little bit less intrusive kind of thing.
Approachable.
More approachable,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
well said.
Well,
So I
because
guess-
they're flat out geeking out. Like, that's what
Yeah.
what it's about. They're
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
They're flat out geeking out. It's not about they're not asking about their personal life. They're not asking about that. It's flat out geeking out. And
But they
stories
get
about
into
other
deep
celebrities.
stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, what's the Chris Hardwick, the host of Nerdist? His father died, I think,
The
3
Paul
years. or
Rudd
something.
episode.
Paul Rudd episode.
Yeah, they
Fucking
talk-
A, exactly.
Yeah. I heard that one. Yeah, they talk about their father. It does get quite deep. Yeah,
Yeah, I was on a gym on like a treadmill or something like that, and I stopped and got off and was like, "It's just too sad. I want to go home."
This isn't inspiring me to run at all.
Yeah. And also, I hate the gym, so it's time to go. But I was just like,
this place,
"This is so upsetting." But I was just like, lost him 2 years ago. Every day hurts. Right. Father, you know, Ant-Man. I just want to hear about you being small.
15 seconds.
So you're in Ant-Man. Did you have a father figure in that film? Yes, but he dies. Ah.
Jesus. All right, I guess I'm going to listen to Kevin Smith now.
He also talks about his father dying a lot as well.
Constantly, Grace.
Man. So yeah, going into that, when I looked into music and comedy as well on their list, and again, it's all BBC.
Yeah.
Comedy is all of it. In fact,
Yeah.
number one is Friday Night Comedy BBC. Radio.
Really?
That's number one on the
Even on
iTunes system,
comedy?
On the actual comedy.
On
category.
Radio 4.
Yeah, radio.
Fuck,
No, it's
man.
on the iTunes chart, but for the comedy, number one is Friday Night Comedy from BBC Radio 4.
And the weird thing is, I just won't listen to it.
I didn't think
I
Radio
just-
4 was on a Friday night. I thought no one's going to listen to this past 7. Like,
Yeah. Just, everyone is asleep.
Yeah.
Or they're out for early bird specials.
So,
Do podcasts come up on DAB radio then? Because I mean, that's the kind of thing, like, my mum didn't know what a podcast was until I explained it to her, yet she's an avid Archers listener. And we were explaining it, it was like, imagine if you could listen to any episode of The Archers ever.
Didn't we
the
talk
top
about
of her head just go,
when we last came here, we were talking about it and just like, I remember that episode back in 1864.
Season 54.
I remember it had been all in the papers many years ago now when there was like a steamy sex scene in The Archers. It was a big thing, like it was on the news and the papers. People
Most
would
listened to podcast ever.
I would love to have seen the props they used.
Man enters the shower.
Just slap it.
Everyone's just slapping different pieces of the stuff. You fucking slut. You like that?
Oh my god, podcast porn, could you imagine? Hi, I'm here to fix your Mac.
Phallic looking microphone.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's the other way. What are you going to do with that joke? Let me throw out genuine sex noises.
Why are you pointing that finger at me? Oh.
And that's fine, you've got a bass in there that you can pick up and just be like, boom, boom.
70s funk.
Just Seinfeld all the way through it.
That really is what's missing from porn these days.
There is.
Proper.
A Seinfeld soundtrack.
Yeah. Just a bit of bass. Funking out.
I don't know if I could watch music on porn, but I could watch
Music on
I
porn?
could watch the music.
I would find it more funny if there was a live band in the background.
Oh, yeah.
So it was almost like
I'd
a
watch,
chat show.
I could watch that.
We've talked about shooting that before. we've discussed shooting that.
But like Jimmy Fallon, where they're just fucking at the desk and the roots are just kind of going with what he's doing. Oh, he's slow, make it loving. Slow
Why
down.
he's interviewing him as well. It's like, when the new film, when's that out? Foot in my face, foot in my face. I wish you viewers could see this. It's quite beautiful to see. Oh, it's not so pretty anymore.
Oh, I don't
I'm
think she
glad
wants
this
it in
is
there.
just audio.
No, she don't want it in there.
Oh, I didn't think that went that way.
Dear God.
The BBC, you're going to want us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well,
is
we
gonna
can't
be the
get on the
breakthrough.
BBC with this content. Like, we are killing it today. BBC Radio 4 are primed for us. What do you guys go out as, though? What is it? Is it comedy?
I put us on the comedy, yeah. I don't know what else to put it under.
Well, the problem is you put yourself in a comedy and then people are like, oh, comedian, are you? Like, no.
But that's it, we're not
no, that's all,
comedians.
like-
But it's
No.
a funny podcast, and it
But
is.
there's-
Like,
I wouldn't even know what to even put us in apart from comedy.
and that's the thing. I think because
I wouldn't call it factual.
Entertainment.
But you know what,
Generic.
if I have to put more than one category, I sometimes do put factual
I
in
mean,
there.
if you write a list,
Because
you
we do talk about some facts sometimes. We do drop some knowledge. It's not great knowledge, but
It's
it's
real.
knowledge.
You're
It's
not
real.
playing characters as well.
Yeah, it's
So-
real. We're just talking.
Yeah.
So I usually have the tagline whenever I do the artwork or I describe us. I always put a comedy podcast from Greg and Joe.
Yeah.
We've seen guys. That's actually usually how
Yeah,
I put it out.
Well, we the other day we ranked really highly on. Someone told us we ranked really highly on top. I said really highly, top 30. You know,
That's
which,
pretty
which
high,
for
though.
me, I'm like, fuck yeah,
That's pretty high.
Yeah,
Because we say all this, there's not
But-
much podcast. There are actually thousands
Well, there's a
of
lot.
them out there.
Yeah.
Thousands upon thousands of them out there.
it's just not
But
many
top
that
30
have
is
kind of
fucking
like
amazing.
but of a specific category, which was music
Surbiton.
industry. Surbiton brass cat based podcasts, top 30.
Boom.
You're at 29. The brass
And you
cats.
typed in brass cats as well.
No, that was I think we were 24th in the music
industry.
industry podcast.
Oh, wow.
That's good.
We don't even put ourselves up as that, though.
No.
We go up as a
Industry
music
into
podcast.
that.
So
Yeah,
someone
whole new
somewhere
world.
has been like, there's a lot of not
Behind the
music
scenes.
podcasts in this music podcast category. We need a new category and gone to the effort of picking the ones out that are meant because we don't.
Because we end up in music category, and then people like, "We don't play music." I'm like,
Yeah.
but we specifically try and talk about it. Like,
A lot.
We don't.
I don't like. Yeah, it's
You
a shame
usually
that
play them. Usually
We do play the song.
Usually in your intros, you play the song.
Yeah, we play the song at the beginning and the end.
Yeah,
so
you
so
play
we
the
play a
songs.
song, but
Yeah.
you know, it's an hour and a half.
That's it, yeah.
One song.
But it's like the theme is music though, isn't it? So like,
Yeah.
but it's a shame that people just think like, oh, music, it's a music one. I'm going to hear loads of music. Like, no, it's talking about music. Like,
We're part of the UK podcast network or whatever. We added it on that, and they put us in music.
We are now as well, thank you.
No worries, I told you, right? It's very easy to get pop up. But I signed up to that, and they put us in music and listened to the other ones, and the other ones are literally like drive time podcasts. Where
Yeah.
it's
Alan Partridge, like,
yeah, just for all you truckers out there. And you know, we're not that.
Queen is dead. Long live the King Singers. Sorry about that last one. I saying the Queen was dead. She's not. We had a number of complaints from listeners and a newspaper.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's still it's a bit new.
Yeah.
Still, because I don't think that's a podcast. I don't know what you guys think, but like when someone plays music and talks in between it,
It's a radio show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
would.
I mean, this show radio, like it's just playing. You don't listen to podcasts to just hear music. You listen to music if you want to hear music.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to hear you and Tony be like, this song's called, play it. And then
Yeah.
finish. That's a nice song. Now this song's called, and then play it. Because what's the point in that?
Now saying that, we are thinking of doing one of those episodes. But
Just choose like the worst songs.
Well, ours was it's not. No, ours we're going to
This
be
is the Brass
specifically-
Cats album. It's just from beginning to finish.
Actually-
Are you going to do audio commentary over the Brass Cats album?
Bones, that is not a bad idea. We need to do our own album, and then we'll
no,
talk
Mike.
about how cool it is.
on the topic of bad songs, I had we had a chat the other day. We had a message chat on Facebook with a bunch of bands that we're going to play with in about a month or so, and it as it always does, it just turns into a series of gifts and pictures of obscene shit and just a ridiculous conversation. But I put in there the other day, what was it? What's the one song you wouldn't want to listen to whilst you're getting sodomized? And there was some...
I said Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor, in case you actually find the whole thing beautiful and
Yeah,
moving.
it's definitely a slow song.
Really? Because I chose Gina G, ooh, ah, just a little bit.
I suppose you don't want the guy getting a rhythm, do you? Like, you know.
I imagine you're going to go a Spice Girls song.
I'll tell you what I want.
Sure. 5 Minutes Alone by Pantera.
I'm gonna go. If something comes to mind, which is the song that Jay decided to put on after Jay got a tattoo, and I put on like Metallica.
St.
while he was
Angus,
getting-
specifically,
St. Angus.
yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, it's all good, it's all good." As soon as I lay down to get my tattoo, he puts on fucking Alicia Keys. And I'm lying there like, why does this hurt so much more than it should? It's like,
I'm falling.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that.
And also, we're in Girona, Spain, at a Dutch-owned Hell's Angel bar, in a stable.
stable / tattoo studio.
I think this has actually happened to them, Joe. They've been in this situation before.
Literally, and we were so
That's how we
drunk.
met.
That's it. He was in the same place. But we were so drunk, we'd filled a black bin full of bottles of beer once every day right, of recording. We were absolutely...
There was the worst album ever.
Yeah. The Brass Cats Extravaganza of Musical Excellence is called.
That's awesome.
Or Extravaganza, for those people
It's
that know
so
it well. But we were so drunk, we were bleeding like stuffed pigs. Like, every little mark was just... And we're getting the emblem of it's called El Rancho, the place where we got it. It's a big bull's head thing, but both getting the same thing done on the back there. And I'm just screaming at the bloke. I'm like, "Don't fucking wipe it anymore." He's like, "I can't see. Like, there's blood everywhere. Don't you do it?" Well, like St. Anger's all like kicking off, and it's got that St. Anger's got that big dank.
We don't need
so
drums, we'll use bins.
Yeah, we're gonna hit a bin with a fucking sledgehammer once.
I don't like this snare. I want to replace it with a keg.
This is it. Falling down the stairs.
I call it the Slipknot effect.
And then literally as soon as I got off, I was like, "God, man, I'm feeling fucking wrecked." Have another little drink. Little Alicia Keys. Poor Tony's like,
Well, you having them on your back.
yeah.
Nice.
And he got his belly done as well.
fucking hell.
Little light switch.
Oh, nice.
Front side tramp stamp.
The 2-pack. Let's go with the 2-pack.
It's a light switch. It's quite faded now. I'm gonna get it touched up.
See that guy in the paper that had the Henry Hoover tattooed over him?
No.
That's awesome.
Oh, God,
Why?
that's a lot of work.
It looked
Like
bad as
pain.
well.
That sounds tender.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the penis, yes. It's very tender from what I hear.
I don't think they actually tattooed his penis because they would just do it black, wouldn't they? I mean, they actually just above it, he had like the actual
Yeah.
Henry Hoover.
Wow. Well, and then basically did a sleeve on his cock. A black sleeve. I hate this!
God, would you be erect or loose to get that tattooed?
Loose.
This is the worst thing I could have done to get on Lad Bible.
Yeah. That was worth it. Right, what's next?
Life complete.
Oh man. So there you go. So,
So sodomy.
so back on the
Sodomy
cat.
sounds-
I don't think Pantera, 'cause I enjoy Pantera too much. Little Green Bag.
What,
boom,
from,
boom, boom, boom.
was it
Because that gets your hips moving, you know what I mean? And you don't need-
James Rafferty? I think?
I believe it is. I know it is the song from...
George Rafferty.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is George Rafferty. I think you're bang on there. Well done. Or Jeffrey Rafferty.
Yeah.
Rafferty.
One of those three.
Yeah. The Rafferty brothers.
James, George, Jeff, Jeffrey.
One of the T's.
One of the two.
So yes, we put ourselves on the comedy.
Why?
I don't think vulgarness was an option.
But
Economy is economy sodomy.
Do you think we do sodomy economy?
Codomy.
Economy?
Oh, the fish and chip porno. Yes.
An economy sodomy dichotomy. Yes. That's good. But do you think that what's happening over in America is going to happen here, and like there is going to be big companies who are like,
I mean, I don't think
"Here's some
terrorists
cash."
are really that concerned.
With servitude.
Tag political.
Political,
Just
yeah.
got political.
Nice. We're
in.
handbags, fashion, bosh.
I don't know if it will. Maybe at some point. I don't know how big it's over in America. It's so many podcasts. There's so out there. It doesn't matter if you're famous or not. Loads of podcasts get listened to out there.
Yeah,
Loads of them.
People
So
know
many
what they are and what
Yeah,
they
yeah.
listen to them. Yeah,
Yeah.
we get a lot of US listeners.
Same here. We
too,
got a lot of US listeners as well. Yeah.
which blows my mind.
Yeah. I remember when we started doing in the first episode, we talked about Cheeky Nando's, and then we started trying to get the hashtag for Naughty Frangos
Naughty
trending.
Frangos.
Oh, yeah.
And it was crazy. I remember checking Twitter, and there's people like in Illinois. So I was like, hashtagging Naughty Frangos.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Do they
fuck.
even have Frango?
No, I don't think they do. I don't know. I don't think they do. But I was
More
like,
people.
man, there's places out there like
Just doing it just because it's
you know,
popular on Twitter.
most of it-
yeah,
most of it was
yeah.
hitting
For the
up
wrong
from America.
reasons.
Crazy.
It is. It's weird, but like, I think also because they don't have a BBC
Yeah.
to come in and be like, this is what it is. I bet
It's
there's
way more sort of independent. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Well,
Like,
NPR is probably the closest thing they have in a way, and it's
which is what National Public Radio.
Yeah,
Like,
and they have solidified the like quality bar side of podcasts in the US, like This American Life and all that, and
Yeah.
Radio Lab's a spin off from
Because
there
they
and all those kind of
like
things,
This American Life, they do live shows quite a lot, don't they, as
Yeah.
well? And that is literally like they do a podcast. Like I always think, how would we do this live? I listen to that, and it's just them on stage talking with guest speakers, sometimes a comedian or a band plays. Mm-hmm. It's just like we can do that. What would we do?
You could just do like a Q&A section, just come at us with some.
But
Really
we expect people. But we expect people to. But that means we're relying on the audience to ask us questions, funny questions.
Yeah.
Tony keeps saying to us we should do a live one, and
Well, we're doing some festivals this summer, so
Oh,
we're
yeah,
gonna
you
have
guys saying,
we're
yeah.
gonna have to have something in the bag for that. But what?
I don't know. That kind of scares me.
Talk,
It scares me.
music,
It scares me.
live.
I know. Listen,
That's exactly what we do.
I've been in bands for years. I've played in loads of stages. It's not being in front of people that worries me. We don't edit, so it's not that worries me either. But it's a scary prospect for some reason for me to do this live.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
the
know.
same with me.
You're
man.
scared you might have to pick up a guitar at some point.
I don't want to do that.
Dead
Those who
air,
can't
dead air, dead air.
podcast.
Where's the guitar?
here's Wonderwall.
I could probably still play.
Because if we did it live, I don't know. We would essentially have to act like comedians in some respect. We'd have to be punchy, funny. We couldn't stop,
God.
pause, and go for a piss like we usually
But I
do.
think that's
like
the- I
go
think-
for a cigarette, come back. Like we'll be back in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Go for a fag and a piss.
That's a perfect time to play a song.
Go get high, then come back. Then come back and be like, all right, let's do this now.
You could though. That'd be great. If you played a song and be like, "We're going to go for a piss now," straight up, and then just release the whole thing.
Or just
live.
have a band set up that plays for
Yeah.
10 minutes, we come back, and then...
Or we just play one of our episodes. Just
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
This is episode 4 about Nicolas Cage. Back in a minute.
Back in an hour and a half.
I do like the idea of doing how we were talking about last night, doing how to write a tune like live session.
Okay,
so
that's cool.
Almost like an open mic.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Less artists.
Do you mean actually doing it live, actually having people come in here and like...
So no, go to a venue.
like-
Go
okay.
to a venue, sit down. So I think open mic.
Do it
but
open mic,
instead.
but we book most of them.
Okay,
Yeah,
exclusive
Not
open
book
mic.
them, but be like, do you want to come
come
to the
down?
How to Write a Tune open mic?
And
Oh yeah, that's a really
do
good idea.
15 minutes of chat. They play a song. They fuck off. Someone comes to 15 minutes or something like that.
yeah.
I quite
Yeah.
like the idea of that because then you're just hosting an open mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is like if as soon as you do it in front of an audience, you are then, like you say, putting yourself in the comedy category doesn't make you a comedian.
No.
Standing up in front of a fucking crowd and talking into a microphone to be funny, I'm pretty sure that's a comedian.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fine line.
And at which point, like, this becomes not podcasting, and then it's, I don't know. I have a feeling that I'd just be like,
Yeah.
I'm Greg and Joe, we're the All Seeing Guys, and this is live.
Yeah.
So, Joe,
Obviously, we're all alive and breathing.
Joe, say something offensive quickly so I can react to it.
I would see that show.
Just so I can react to it, or just be like, fucking hell, Joe, not that much.
Not that much.
Fucking not
I guess that's the other thing. When we play live, we're hammered.
Yes.
And when we do the podcast, normally less so. So if we did
Yeah.
it live, we'd have to be somewhere in the middle, probably.
Shit.
Yeah. Like half a Brass Cat special, just 12 Jaegers.
So, so the Breast Cat special, which we used to get the Cox to sell when we were playing, is 24 Jaegers. Right? There's 6 people in the band.
That's not
5,
bad.
6.
Depending on who turns up.
Yeah, I mean, I try to drink 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Because, you only play for half hour 45.
Yeah.
and adrenaline kicks in heavily.
And if you're just shouting for the second half, no one really knows.
Yeah.
We're definitely more hammered for doing the podcast than we are doing dice rollers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because if I get too drunk at dice rollers beforehand, I slur too much. I'll be slurring me words.
Okay.
I'll be losing me time.
You're not drinking enough.
I'll be too busy. I'll be too busy, like thinking, I need to come in here, and then I won't. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we've done me wrong. We have done it. Like, we have been.
I usually like we.
It depends on what time we're on, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'll usually get like Greg does as well, just like a pint of water, just because it's a lot of vocal shit.
Sure.
And
Oh,
then,
man, my-
but also
my mouth
have
is
like
so dry on stage.
I'll also have like a couple of Jack and Cokes,
Yeah.
and I'll just completely end up forgetting about the water and just drinking the Jack and Cokes on stage. I'm just like, fuck it, like.
My thing when you play on stage is there's only so long. Tony starts talking about some bollocks and bringing some next tune in, and I'm like, sweet, whatever. And you just grab a drink and be like, and if you've got shorts, you always forget because you're playing live. So you're like, no, I'll make it fucking double whiskey, mate. Yeah. And all of a sudden you look at the empty glasses when you're late, and you're like, God, I can't really play this song. You look over and there's 5 empty glasses, and like, 2, 4, 6, 10. That's 10
Song
shots.
am I playing?
And I did shots.
And you realise no one's playing, and all the band's looking at you,
Yeah.
not playing, just staring at empty glasses, doing this maths in your head.
Jay's playing a solo, leg up on the monitor. Like, that's my bit, right?
Badly.
So yeah, we're definitely more hammered for the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, the New Year's one was probably the drunkest / highest we'd been to do one, and it sounds it as well.
Yeah, we got
That was cool. That was good, though. I liked your New Year's episode.
Yeah.
Had a really good back and forth.
I think it was because of because I just moved into my flat and stuff like that, so it was kind of like a new environment.
Excitable as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. We're just like, I'm getting fucked on rum. Like,
At the captain's table.
yeah. Always sat at the captain's table.
Nice.
Fucking hell. So there you go. We covered. I think that's enough about podcasts. You want to go into some
Oh,
agony
fuck, I
aunts?
hate podcasts. Yeah.
Do you want to go into some agony aunts?
Hit me.
All right.
You gonna help us with terrible advice?
Sure, he's got great advice as well.
So yeah,
Wait, great, bad, or like
you didn't.
Yeah.
We'll see. You didn't ask for it, but here's our advice anyway.
Excuse me, can I ask you a question? I don't want your advice. I don't want it. I don't need to listen to your talks. I don't want your advice. Just think you should marry the dog and be happy. I don't need to know what you have to say.
Disclaimer, do not take our advice. If you do, we'll not be held accountable for inevitable heartbreak. Thank you.
I am a 23-year-old man. I'm obsessed with celebrity culture. Whenever I have sex with my girlfriend, I insist that she must wear a mask of one of the female celebrities who really turns me on, such as Billie Piper or Kimberly Walsh. My girlfriend isn't
Not bad choices.
My girlfriend isn't too impressed with this, but goes along for it with it anyway. However, when she wants me to have sex with her and she's not wearing a mask, I don't think I can because I only get turned on by celebrities.
Marry her. Marry her immediately because you say to her, "I want to look at someone else when I fuck you," and she says yes. Marry that bitch.
Do you reckon it's like a paper mask or like a full blown like over the head
like Mission Impossible?
He spends thousands of pounds on his mask.
Tens of thousands of pounds.
Here, babes,
Making her look like Kimberly Walsh.
Yeah,
Step your game up, mate.
I found this the other week and I read it and I was like, I don't know who Kimberly Walsh is. I had no idea who she was. And then I was
Girls Aloud
at the in-laws the other day and they're watching Celebrity British Bake Off and she was in it. And she looked horrendous, man. I was just like, who's that old woman? She says Kimberly Walsh. I was like, she looks bad. Like, she did not look good. So you probably want to put a mask on her to have sex.
Yeah.
A mask of her when she was in Girls Aloud.
What did he say? He said like, yeah.
Maybe that's Kimberly Walsh's fucking boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm only really turned on by Kimberly Walsh circa 2002.
Celebrities such as Billy Piper and Kimberly Walsh.
Billy Piper as well. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well played, sir.
What would you do? I suppose, marry her.
Yeah, I think the only thing to do is marry her immediately.
But she has to have a mask on all the time. You can't.
At the wedding.
At the wedding.
At the wedding.
Wearing a brown paper bag with this Billy Piper's face on it.
I love to know where he makes the masks. Like what you were saying, is he just taking them out of magazines?
Or is
Scanning
he-
them on his computer, blowing them up, and they're just on like a cereal box cardboard house.
It's like pixelated really badly because he's blown it up too
with
much.
eye holes and just a string round the back of her head.
Or
like
is it
when you were at school?
or a scary collage chopped out of magazines of lots of different Billy Pipers?
Like, come on, Billy, say it. And it's like, oh, I don't want to. Come on, Billy, say it. Just like, oh, you're the doctor.
That's goddamn right, I'm the doctor. Bigger on the inside,
Don't
like your
call me Billy.
vagina.
Call me Chris Evans.
TGIF.
Don't forget your toothbrush.
Deirdre, I keep fucking my woman with a toothbrush and making her wear Billy Piper.
And I dress up as Chris Evans.
Do I have a Chris Evans problem?
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to say.
Oh yeah, I'm bragging.
I just feel as well, it's like sometimes at the weekend he brings his mate Paul Gascoigne over. And Jimmy Five Bellies. Let me tell you, those are some bad weekends.
It's a horrific weekend. My actual answer to that thing is you should dump the poor girl. Like, if you can't fuck her, you should get rid of her and stop torturing
And maybe
her.
start looking through there must be in the age of online dating and all these like escort agencies, there must be a celebrity lookalike one you can go to.
Yeah.
And just pay for celebrity lookalike sex.
Plus, we've established
Fucking
that
brilliant.
we've established that this Kimberly Bake Off, whoever she is, she's not very hot
Kimberly
anymore.
Bake
No,
Off?
you can go hunt her down, man. Like, she's probably available. Like,
So unattractive is her that I can't remember her actual name. She was not that memorable to me.
Ah, Kimberly Bake Off.
Girlfriend.
You know her from Girls Aloud. Is that where she's from?
Great
Girls
British
Aloud?
Walsh.
Oh shit, there is one. There is. Well, it's come up on Google. The 10 best celebrity dating websites. Fuck off.
No.
Did that actually say that? Fuck.
Dating sites where you can find Ryan Gosling and Rihanna lookalikes.
Oh,
That
what?
is petrifying. And it's
Amazing.
And it's April 2014 as well. So like,
Have they actually got pictures of the actual people though? When they say Ryan Gosling and Rihanna,
So,
they've actually got a picture of
genuine
Ryan Gosling
photo.
and Rihanna.
It's like, yeah, it's a
But
genuine
what
photo of Ryan Gosling,
But
not the
what
person that
shows
looks
up
like him.
is not anything that
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
remotely like that.
Jesus, that's petrifying. So
I
when-
reckon what happens is you order Ryan Gosling, 2 days later, just some Russian dude turns up in a t-shirt that just says Ryan Gosling.
I am Ryan Gosling.
It's just like,
I am Gosling
I am
Ryan.
Gosling. I like the drive. Oh yes, I was in Notebook.
We have notebook sex now.
What do you want?
No, but sex.
I grow a beard. Special occasion.
So I say that's the answer. Dump her and then start using
Dump her and stop
celebrity
torturing the
dating
poor chick, yeah.
lookalikes.
Yeah.
And go fuck yourself because you're a horrible human being.
All right, I have another one here. I have
Fantastic.
one. What voice shall I do for this?
Is it a guy or a girl?
It's a guy. I might go a bit more.
Go a bit geezer.
A bit geezer.
Bit geezer.
Yeah. I was seduced by a beautiful woman. It turned out, though, was a man in drag. The sex was amazing, but now I'm confused. I'm a 25-year-old man and was all set to spend the rest of my life with my girlfriend, who's 24. Why do I always tell everyone their ages?
Yeah.
We're
nothing to brag
engaged to
about.
get married in June. My girlfriend and I have been together for 3 years and never had problems until now. My best friend was moving abroad for a year and he threw this big party to say goodbye to his mates. My girlfriend was busy that night, so I went on my own. First to the pub and then on to the party. I was so drunk by the time I arrived, I went straight to the kitchen to find some more beer. A beautiful blonde said she would pour it for me. She was around my age and had long, shapely legs and beautiful smile. She seemed really keen and we bantered for a bit, then I led her upstairs. Not something I normally do. We then got to the bedroom.
Creepy.
We then got to the bedroom. I realised I'd made a huge mistake. She wasn't a girl, but a bloke dressed in drag. He pulled me towards him and we had sex. It was epic. I fell asleep, and by the morning he had gone. I haven't mentioned this to anyone. Since then, I really can't bear to get close to my girlfriend at all. She knows I've changed, but doesn't know why. I can't stop thinking about that night. How can I say I cheated on her with a man?
Now I put a bin bag over my girlfriend's head and a blonde wig.
And I think we're Ryan Gosling. Well, that's pretty easy, this one, isn't it? You're,
To get frozen
gay.
sausage.
Sort of the definition of being gay is having sex with men.
And you knew it before we had sex as well.
Yeah.
He says it.
Yeah.
Then he pulled me towards him,
Yeah.
and we had sex. It was epic.
Yeah. Because when,
Yeah,
when
he liked it.
Yeah.
Epic is it's a good description of
epic.
how much he enjoyed
Let me
it.
tell you something.
He wouldn't say it was average. It was okay. It was epic.
I guess the real question is, do you now want your girlfriend to fuck you with a strap on more
Right.
than you want to fuck her?
Uh-huh.
Because if so,
Maybe that's how we
you're
should
gay.
pitch it to her.
I keep asking my girlfriend to stick a frozen sausage in me bumhole, but she won't do it.
She knows something's changed.
He should do that.
The
Get
size
her.
of Uranus.
Get her in the strap on, yeah, fuck him. And then after his birthday, did you enjoy that? She'd be like, yeah. He went, oh, well, thank God, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Let me tell you how this came about. You can't be angry, though, because you enjoyed it.
Just like, that was alright, was it? Funny story.
Do you know Blonde Dave?
cracking set of shapely legs on him.
You know your brother, Dave.
You seen his calves? Oh, his fucking calves.
Those footballer legs of his.
Yeah.
Shapely.
The thing is, as well, is he's really jumped past the, like, he pulled me towards him and then we had sex.
Yeah, no.
That's a bigger, like, there's a bigger part of the story.
Suggests that they were both erect.
Yes, exactly. 'cause
Ready to go.
it's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
Sex, I've seen it. I've heard about it. Also, at some point during sex, yes, I was just checking, but 100% of the time, I've looked for and/or found a vagina.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Found.
Hold up, something's amiss here. Something's different here.
because I
I
keep
can't quite
looking.
put my finger on it, so I'm going to have sex anyway.
Yeah.
I'll worry about it
Because I
later.
can't put my finger.
I'll
Yeah,
worry about the
banter.
details
he should have
later.
known immediately when she was good at banter.
Yeah.
Like,
We had
Or
banter.
saw the erection through her dress in the kitchen.
Yeah.
We had a bit of banter and then went upstairs to play FIFA.
For more bants.
He doesn't normally lead girls upstairs. apparently,
Hey,
but he
six
did.
pants.
It's like sex pants.
Oh, let's get
But
those
it's a
facts off you.
bit gayer in the end, really.
Ended up pulling his pants down.
Yeah, I think the best advice is start sleeping more with men.
Yeah. Try
how it's
try with a man that isn't dressed like a woman and see how that goes for you.
That's right.
because maybe you're into chicks with dicks.
That's
be.
true.
Could be a
That
thing.
is true. Good. To see if the missus is. Start leaving.
what I'm
Right.
saying,
So
yeah.
actual, what you need to do. Start leaving specific websites open. Go, oh, did I
little
leave?
breadcrumbs, little
Oh no,
breadcrumbs.
my celebrity dating website. Oh shit.
Yeah, I've booked
And as she
Ryan
closes
Gosling.
that
You've
page,
seen
it's
me.
dicks and chicks and dicks. And if she's into it,
You've caught the two men I've ordered from the escort. 1980s Michael Jackson and 1995 Michael Jackson. They're both coming around for a party.
but you fancy that, right?
You want to be starting something, don't you?
Because you could end up in the best three-way relationship ever, where you're still married to the chick.
Yep.
Blonde Dave, is
But
the
what
other
I
part
want
of it
is
as well.
she's obviously then going to write into Deirdre or whatever and she'll be like, so the other day I was on the computer and my husband had left his left his website open and it was chicks with dicks and I think he's kind of into it. Do I go ahead with this? And it's just like,
You never get
did he
it.
go to a party and meet a blonde girl? Dave. Did he meet Dave?
Is your brother called Dave? Yeah. Blonde Dave. Peroxide Dave.
Peroxide Dave. bleached hair and arsehole. You know.
Great legs.
I love that all it took to win him over was the fact he went to the kitchen to get beer, met this girl, and she poured it for him. That's all it took to win him over.
I mean, that'd do it for me.
Yeah.
Poured the beer for you.
Like, if I'm single and I go to a
doesn't
party and
offer-
some chick does anything, I'm like, I'm in.
I'll pour that for you.
Shit. She was horrible to me and won't talk to me anymore. I'm in.
I'm well in.
She looked at me disgustingly and said something horrible about me to all of her mates.
I'm in.
I'm
Without
so
consent.
in.
They're whispering and pointing.
Banter.
They're whispering and pointing, and it's getting me hard.
Cracking wig.
Where did you shop for your wig and dress? I might get a...
Dave's local rental, isn't it?
Products at Dave's wig shop.
That's the one.
On a slight side note, I was in Buckinghamshire yesterday, 2 days ago. I was driving past and on the phone with Tony, and shop closed down, heavily closed, because it was Beaconfield's hat hire. Just hats. Right? And at what point did that guy not have any fucking friends to be like, are you sure, Bill? Just hats. Old Solo sombrero.
And you're not even selling them. No sell.
If it's cold...
Yeah, you're not selling hats.
if it's cold, you can nip in and rent a beanie.
Yeah. Cheers. I'll bring this back in 2 days. Wicked.
But
one day.
there used to be one by Tolworth Girls and on the subway, that short parade of shops there.
Uh-huh.
There used to be, when I used to go to school at Southborough.
Rent a school
So
uniform and sneak in.
I used to walk past it to go to Southborough, and for years, for about a year, there was a hat rental shop just there as well.
It's a thing.
But this was years ago. But also,
It becomes a thing when you see two of them.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't last.
This is a thing now.
One crazy bloke is what I thought. But apparently
We saying about podcasts being a thing. It's just because we have a podcast and you have a podcast. That's two podcasts. So surely that's a thing.
Surbiton's kicking off with podcasts. Surbiton Kingston.
Top 30.
Can we rent podcasts if we hire them out?
I like it.
Imagine that.
I mean, no one will pay for them. They're free, but maybe we can
I
hire them.
imagine somebody that has a hat hire shop
That's it,
is a super villain. I imagine.
Of course,
behind
it's a
it.
front.
Oh yeah, that's a front. That's total
no
front.
doubt.
Super villain, because we obviously do our made up names.
That's a 1920s front, when proposition was
I got a great idea.
Well, I'm gonna hat shop.
So me and Joe make up. We talked about this before on the podcast. We make up stupid names,
Right.
Yeah.
for characters. So we have made up detectives. So Joe.
This all came around from our created detectives that we.
So my detective name's Ritz Cricker, and Joe's is Dick Disturbance, which came about.
Dick Disturbance.
Yeah, which came about.
This came about when I was trying to think of male equivalents for the protest punk band Pussy Riot, and I came up with Dick Disturbance.
So you know that both of
testicle
your detective names are also porn names and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we have different characters we've come up with in this random town. So you've got Benedict Eggs, the villain.
Yes.
Quench Thirsty, the mayor.
I like
Terms
that.
and Conditions, the lawyers. Marcus Biscuits, the accountant. Goes all Wilson Weathers. But then we have Malcolm Combs, the old villain who owns a wig shop.
Nice.
There it is.
That's the front.
That's why it was ringing a bell.
That's it.
Wigs and hats.
And wigs is just a subset of hats, really. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
That's like it's just a
hairy
more
hat.
niche
We
market.
cater forehead up. Forehead up is our area to fucking shine. Nothing below it, go fuck itself.
Can you imagine if I was rocked up in a wig one day?
I would laugh until death.
I dressed up as him at Halloween. I would long wig, cowboy. I was just a
Amazing.
cowboy, basically.
I had a
Which
skull
is how
cap
you dress all
on.
the time.
Yeah, basically, I had a skull cap
Oh,
on.
you didn't commit and shave your head.
No.
I committed.
To look like Tony, you're doing a hell of a job.
When we met you guys before, I was like, man, these guys know what they're doing. First step, I shave my head. So I went home.
These luscious locks are really holding me back.
So Joe's gonna be Jay.
He's taller.
We're gonna start a reggae band soon.
And never
Which is
play any
weird
gigs.
because we're literally we are becoming each other. Okay, I think what we should probably do in about 10 podcast time is just swap. Like, don't tell anyone.
Yeah,
we'll do
just
the
to
All
see what
Seeing Guy
happens.
podcast.
Podcasts are like lives.
Oh, shit. Love that. No, hang on, because I'll be working for myself and you guys have jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
Fuck
That's
that.
true.
It could be nice for a day. It could be nice for a day. A day in the life.
It'd be
Right.
fun.
Life
Go ahead.
You can spend the day saying,
Hey, baby.
I just do the finger guns everywhere I go. Listening to like Easy Lover by Phil Collins. Just walking everywhere doing finger guns.
women's blouse pop open
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
point. Men's belts fly open.
Like the really confident guy who like works in the office, just knows all the girls' names. Sharon, good weekend. Tracy, Beatrice had a mad one last night. Yeah, check you later.
You like that Facebook post I
Got his
saw?
shirt collar popped.
That's it. Moment on the lips is a lifetime on the hips, Sheila. That's all I'm saying. Put the cakes down. Love it. Good work.
Debbie, 2 sugars, thank you very much, please.
So you've met Jay, right?
But I like the idea that you don't even work in this office. You've just walked in there.
I'm going to do it one day, man. I'm just going to walk into an
Facebook,
office
so you know all their names. So
on
you
a
just
skateboard. I'm going to just balling on a skateboard.
On a hoverboard.
Yeah.
Just as Bart Simpson. Just
Evening. Looking so uncomfortable because I'm trying to lean forward.
I like the Facebook research first, though. Still having troubles with Dan.
Is it because he shagged Dave in the arse?
we gave him advice. He didn't want it.
You don't want it.
He kept going for it.
I think we ended up giving his wife advice, didn't we?
Twice now. So far, the advice has been for Agony on is leave your man immediately. What women
That's
should
better
do?
than our advice, which is usually fuck your mother. Like, we're
Oh
serious,
my
man.
god, there would you rather on the last podcast.
Oh, yeah,
Not the
no,
last
no,
podcast, but the Cox.
That was not
podcast.
cool, man. Like, that's not cool.
That fucked me up a little bit. I've been dodging calls from both my mum and my dad now for about 7 days.
My mum was because it was my birthday yesterday. The night before, I was in the Fighting Cocks, and my parents met me there before going to dinner. So they came in the Cocks, and I was like, "Oh, hi, mum. Did you hear the episode?" And she was like, "Yeah, I couldn't get into that one." I was like, "Good." I hope that was before the Would You Rather was even said. To be honest with you,
Thankfully, that was a good half hour in, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was a fair bit in, yeah.
Oh shit!
I really liked it when we our friends in Urtide when we dropped it on them, and they were just like, there's one bit where like Steve the drummer just goes like, no, you'd push in, wouldn't you, to get out get your dad out, and then Chris just goes, no, you wouldn't, that's your mum. And it had me, man, increasing.
There is no good.
it damaged me. It did damage me.
It's a rough one.
That's worse than Sophie's Choice. Like, which kid do you want? I don't give a fuck. Just please don't make me fuck either my mother or my father.
That definitely damaged me. That one. That was a tough one. I was a bit shocked when she asked that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't there, and I'm shocked.
I wasn't really ready for that kind of that. Like she said, like she was just like, it's rough. Like I spoke to Ellie since on like Friday, and she was just like, yeah, I keep getting inbox messages telling me I'm grim.
She really?
Yeah, she said like people have been like, I don't know, like who, like
Yeah. Why is no one messaging us?
yeah.
Great
This is the
episode,
thing.
guys. No, they've got to talk to her.
Well, fucking shout out right here. That was interesting podcast fodder. that started something. That is a question which has spread out further
Apparently
than
a
the
hate
podcast
campaign
has
against
reached.
Ellie.
That's a fair point.
Hands on the table. I fucking hate Would You Rather. Really? I hate them. I hate them so much.
They're designed to be hated.
Yeah, exactly. And like, people ask me, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I agree. Yeah, you should answer. I hate playing that game, man.
I like
hate
them,
playing it
but
so
I do
much.
need a good 10 minutes to think about it.
Just sits there in silence, pondering.
Everyone quiet. I'm
feel
thinking.
I'm just gonna put my
Stop
headphones
talking.
in.
I'm thinking.
And then just
I don't know what to say.
Mum and my dad, forward or back. Mum, forward or back.
Yeah,
Forward or
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Forward or back. Forward or back. Daddy or chips. Daddy or
Man
chips.
with
Daddy or
Daddy or
chips.
chips.
Man with vagina.
Daddy
man
or
with
tits.
vagina.
You can't call your mum tits. That's not cool. Daddy or tits. All right, pups, you're right. Tits, you well.
Can you imagine the birthday cards now? Dear tits. Merry Christmas. Happy birthday.
Merry Christmas.
However, you have to justify it to yourself to get through it. That's it's like
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Merry Christmas, Dad and tits.
You're putting out the fires to cross the coals. You're going to justify it. We'll see,
Sorry,
guys.
it's
And the same
it's
for
the
Twitter
headphones
as well.
again. I've just realised you look like a 1930s fighter pilot.
Chucks away, Greg. Chucks away.
I was so excited. I was so excited about coming to a studio to do the podcast. to get on all this amazing equipment and sit around a table and talking these awesome mics, and all I'm getting is mocked for the headphones. You're ruining my special
I'm not
moment,
mocking,
Joe.
I'm just saying, like, whilst
ruining my special
whilst you're
moment.
talking, all I'm saying is I just got this vision in my head. Of
I
you
have a
just
very
being
small
like,
head.
Charlie's on the 3-9. Just like that's. Yeah, sorry. Please continue. It was just that I could see my smile breaking out my
I could
face, and
see
he
it.
was
I thought
reacting.
I thought
He was
I
like,
had shit on my face or something. I was like, why is he looking at me
you were
like
gonna
that?
pause. You were gonna pause and just be like, what are you laughing at? And I was just like, no, fuck it, I'm gonna tell him.
Awesome show though. Fucking
Good fun.
Yeah.
cheers for
Thank you
being
very
on
much.
it and having
Yeah,
us here to record it.
Thanks for having us on, boys. Appreciate it.
That feels like a good lengthy one. That.
I
does.
don't know if it is. I'll have a look. Actually, no, maybe, yeah.
Just under 11 hours.
Fucking worth it. Just it's Tuesday now.
Hour and a half almost, I'd say.
That's
So,
great.
cheers for listening. I say goodbye, everyone. Actually, I'm gonna let you guys introduce the track. Actually, so I've been Greg.
I've been Joe.
And what have we
and,
been?
The all-seeing guys.
Yes,
Yeah,
guys.
who have you been?
Who have you been?
I have been Tony.
I've been Jay, and we're the Hello Attitude Boys.
Hey, crossover, guys.
Round one. Fight.
Cheers,
Bing, bing.
cheers for listening, guys. Introduce your track.
So this is Cup Stroke Poke by the Brass Cats.
What?
Indeed. what is what it is. Check it out. It's off the album Return of the Brass Cats, the debut album.
Spotify, iTunes, and all the other fucking places.
Same place you can find our podcast, howtowritetune.com. There's also some cool blogs and stuff there you can go to, or Podnose and check out their lovely podcast where you guys are too. Much
right.
love.
Got an hold on from that.
You did on that talk when your best friend slapped you on the back with a joke, but then in distress while you're going for broke, well you're chicken and eggs the back before your ass is the floor. Cops drop off, don't choke, it's your moment to go. When this girl come around, your thought process involved, so don't blow this. It's your time, take control when you slap her on the ass and you're singing. Well then I turn around to see you. Come strong, oh yeah. Goddamn, I'm so pleased to meet you. Come strong, oh yeah. Yeah, baby, did I hurt your feelings? Not so cold. So don't you think it's time that we should be leaving? Come strong, oh yeah. The cops don't poke when you're soaked and you run out of smoke, and some blokes driving you nuts cause he took too much coke. But then boomtown, your day just got rewrote cause this beautiful girl's got you some attention to show. Cops don't poke when she spoke and you thought was a hoax, but then you realise that she's from right up your close. So don't hang around playing little dagger and cloak. You're slapping her on the ass, think you're winning. Well then I turn around to see you. Come strong, oh yeah. Goddamn, I'm so pleased to meet you. Come strong, oh yeah. Yeah, baby, did I hurt your feelings? Not so cold. So don't you think it's time that we should be leaving? Come strong, oh yeah. In smoke set, he says, now do that again. Nah, you must be joking. He puts on suit in his flute, smoke set. He says, now do that again. Man, you must be joking. He puts on suit up in his flute and takes it down in a couple of buns. Then he jumps up on the table and yells at Kingston. You know, but Jamaica mate, in fact, you're near a service on and you lost track of the top. See, that was just on your arm. So take a deep breath and pretend that you're the bacon fairies. It's tomorrow, but this one's in the day. Cause I'm back on the cracking shots, CGD macking for that cops drop. Oh, well, you know what's gone out. The cops drop, oh, don't choke, it's your moment to go. This girl come around, your thought process involved, so don't blow this. It's your time, take control. She's showing skin on you, don't think you're in cops drop, pokey. Well, then I turn around to see you. Come strong, oh, yeah. Goddamn, I'm so pleased to meet you. Come strong. Yeah, baby, did I hurt your that we should be leaving.